Welcome to Crossroads. I'm your host, Joshua Phillip, and today we have Gerard Abiassaf.
Correct.
Right? He's with the Mission of Hope and Mercy. And so this is an organization that is standing up against the genocide of Christians in the Middle East, and they're providing humanitarian aid to people fleeing from ISIS. So tell us a bit about what's happening, this situation. And I guess before we start, we should say that if you've been following Epic Times, we've written about that in the Middle East right now, there is a legitimate genocide, defined as genocide of Christians. This is somehow not being reported in a lot of the big media, but by definition, there is a genocide of Christians taking place. And individuals like Gerard here, of course, trying to do something about it. So tell us what the situation is right now. What are you seeing?
So basically, Josh, like you said, unfortunately, there's a genocide happening in the world against the Christians and against any person that believes in religious freedom, in freedom of opinion, and freedom of belief. There's about 245 million persecuted Christians in the world. Every day, 11 Christians are being slaughtered for their faith. 105 churches are being burned, vandalized, destroyed every month. So it's a fact going on, and as a human beings, it's a dire responsibility that we need to stand up for those people that are being literally on the front line, defending basically America's religious freedom, the same concepts that our Constitution here stands up for. And in our mission, we basically aim to bridge the gap between those that are in need of awareness, at the same time reach out to those that are most in need of dire help.
And so I understand you said you have 200 individuals who fled ISIS who you're providing aid to currently. Is this accurate?
There's about 4,500 families that fled from Iraq, and those are the ones that we know that at least survived when their homes were completely destroyed, and they walked from Iraq to Lebanon, and they are basically taking refuge in Beirut. So in the Mission of Hope and Mercy, also we do acts of charity that are mostly signs of hope to these families, and we provide with their basic food and hygiene every month as much as we can. We have about 200 families that we try to support every month, and those 200 families, they rotate. So every month we support another 200 families just to try to cover the most number of families possible. The need is huge. There's a great lack of resources that those people they're trying to find a minimum level of dignity in life to be able to survive. And this is what we try to provide in parallel with the awareness that we do as signs of hope to these people.
I see. Now, I guess one question that would come to a lot of people's minds is why don't they go to Europe, where they have, this kind of open policy for refugees?
Maybe it's not always easy for them to go abroad, but at least for now we know that they are taking refuge in Lebanon. These refugees are literally stuck in limbo. They came from Iraq, and their houses were burned, destroyed. They don't even have legal papers. So they're not allowed in schooling. They're not allowed to have medical aid. They do not receive any proper, housing. So they're really kind of the forgotten refugees that nobody wants to speak about. So it's very difficult for them to survive. But we know for a fact with our team of volunteers in Lebanon, as they are kind of our foot soldiers that meet with them on regular basis in visits of advocacy and prayers. We try to get as much as we can their basic needs. We tell the story here in an awareness, so people here are aware of the plight, and at the same time we just try to provide, as we said, with their basic survival needs.
Now you mentioned, we were speaking off camera, that people may not know, but Lebanon is one of the few countries in that region that has some form of religious liberty. Tell us about the situation. It's interesting.
Lebanon has a very old and deep history and a spiritual heritage, and throughout the history, Pope John Paul II, when he came to Lebanon in 1997 in May, he said that Lebanon it was a prophetic statement, and he clearly pronounced that Lebanon is more than a country. It's a message for pluralism and also for coexistence for the East and for the West to learn from. So we kind of inspired by that message of Pope John Paul II, and Lebanon really it embodies that model of coexistence between more than 18 religion sects in the country. And the Christians are basically, they form one of the main pillars in advocating for that religious freedom. So it's the only kind of free country where people can go boldly, say, okay, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm that religion or that, and not be afraid of being slaughtered the next day. So it's something that we really take pride of, and we aim to defend, to promote as a model of coexistence for all people and for all faiths of Abraham, the people that have the same, faith in God.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned also that even in Lebanon, even the Christians and Muslims, they get along.
Yes.
What is the secret? Although I can say U.S., a lot of places in Europe too, you find the same thing. But what is the secret in the Middle East?
The secret of Lebanon is his hospitality, his love for people, the social life in Lebanon. Christians during Easter, during Christmas, they invite their fellow Muslims to food together, to eat together, to pray together, to bless the food together. They're not shy to say that we're Christians and we're here to maybe tell you about Jesus, to give you that message of love. At the end of the day, it's a message of peace and love, and it goes back to our human values before it reaches the religion, aspect of it.
Great. And so when it comes to the issue of, say, religious persecution, I understand that many individuals, some with your organization, have faced pretty serious persecution in their lives, and maybe can empathize with some of the refugees coming out of these countries. Could you tell us just to help people understand the real situation there, what are some of the, say, issues people have faced, and how have they pulled through this? I know that you were mentioning one of the individuals with your organization who had gone through some pretty incredible, very rough experiences, but came out at the end as seems like a very upright person.
Well, Josh, many of the Christians that fled Iraq, and they are kind of stuck in limbo from the situation and the genocide that happened, they really have no place to go. The only basically safe haven for them now is Lebanon. So they're spread throughout the suburbs of Beirut, and the Chaldean Archbishop is the one who's really kind of hosting them, the Chaldean Archbishop of Lebanon, to try to provide for schooling, at least some food and hygiene that we provide, try to do it on monthly basis. So it's kind of it's difficult. But these people, we call them the living martyrs. Many of them were captured by ISIS. They were tortured. They even cut their tongues to stop pronouncing the name of Jesus, and they kept saying it. So, and it's that faith that they had that made them go through it, and as you said, emerged as even better people, and people that are more bold in proclaiming their faith in a more peaceful way, in a more loving way, and in a more impactful way through their testimony.
That's great. I guess just as a last point, maybe in the last couple minutes, what message do you hope people take from this? You could tell the world something. What is it?
It's a message of hope and mercy. I hope all of our audience can go to missionofhopeandmercy.org, missionofhopeandmercy.org. We have many programs, many conferences, awareness forums that we do, advocacy visits, and also prayer visits that people can be engaged in. Even maybe sometimes just telling a small story, 5-minute chat about what's going on, and engaging your neighbor and maybe how he can help. So I really encourage people to go on the website, missionofhopeandmercy.org, see what we do, and try to assist as much as they can, either in praying for us or in, if they can, financial support to help those people over there.
Great. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Josh. God bless you, and thank you for having us.
Thank you. Everyone, please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.